The NATO summit took place against the backdrop of Orban's peacekeeping races, imitating vigorous activity. As a result, a collective Ukrainian agreement was signed at the summit, concluded with 21 NATO countries. In the short term, Ukraine will receive weapons, ammunition, and training to counter racist aggression. In the medium term, Ukraine will be helped to build an army to defend itself and deter new aggression. In the meantime, Orban, like the toad of the world, jumped up to Trump and exchanged meaningless phrases with him about how Donald must come back and stop the war. To make it more convincing, the Kremlin stated that they were not going to participate in the Second World Summit according to the Ukrainian formula, and Medvedev even belched that it was time to destroy not only Ukraine as a state, but also NATO as a harmful alliance. A rocket attack by the Russians hitting a children's hospital in Kyiv overshadowed the visit of Indian Prime Minister Modi, who, of course, hugged a rat, but cancelled the last round of negotiations. The stench emanated from the child killer Putin was so unbearable. It is clear that even the murders of children did not confuse either Orban or Trump. For them, the main thing is to allow Putin to crawl away from the war with territorial gains, then the adventure will be at least somehow justified. If Ukraine does not agree to this, which is obvious, then mobilization will have to be announced in the cave in the fall. And not for money, as before, but forcibly. If now hired killers are coming to Ukraine, and no one is moaning in the cave, because if they are fried, payments will be received, then in the event of forced mobilization, the Soviets will ask the question, why die? And fermentation will begin. And then taxes were raised, and the sanctions are not at all funny. Moscow is fattening, but drive 101 kilometers and you will see a true picture of imperial prosperity. But most of all, the Kremlin was incensed by US plans to deploy new strike weapons in Germany. After which it became known that Germany, France, Italy and Poland had agreed to create a new cruise missile with a range of over 500 kilometers. The collective Gurulevs voiced plans for the capture of Berlin and Paris for so long that they heard them there and decided to prepare. Poland is strengthening its borders with Belarus, increasing the number of soldiers from 6,000 to 17,000, and Belarus has been holding demonstrative joint exercises with China on its western borders since July 8. The vegetable warehouse exercises are symbolic and seem to challenge Western forces, hinting that Lukashenko is capable of establishing China's military presence and influence in the center of Europe and on the borders of NATO. At this time, Beijing is demonstrating the scale of the military ties it is establishing around the world. The Chinese did not like that at the same NATO summit. They were condemned for helping the Kremlin maniacs, and now they are sending signals about the ability of their army to manifest themselves in regions critical to the collective West. Such insolence will not go unanswered, but it only plays into the hands of Putin and Lukashenko. NATO leaders issued a joint communiqué saying China's stated ambitions and coercive policies continue to challenge our interests, and the deepening Sino-Russian alliance is working to undermine and reshape the rules-based international order. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Lin Jian denounced NATO as an anachronism imbued with a Cold War mentality. In addition, right during the NATO summit, Erdogan screamed, "Who considers Biden and the United States complicit in Israel's alleged war crimes?" Lavrov's deputy, Ryabakov, growled that the deployment of long-range weapons in Germany is a link in the chain of escalation of NATO and the United States against Russia, while at the same time trying to understand, are there any means to engage in a full-fledged arms race? Will the belly button of the monstrous common fund be untied? And while the elderly Biden is fighting off Democrats insisting on his withdrawal from the presidential race, the rat is waiting for Trump, like an elderly pervert waiting for an experienced courtesan. But this red-haired beast is so unpredictable that no one understands what position she will take herself and put others in. Zelensky states in confusion, "The Americans are waiting for November. In Europe, in the Middle East, in the Pacific region, the whole world is waiting for November, and, to tell the truth, Putin is also waiting for November. In general, to paraphrase Choi, November, we are waiting for November."